I will never be selling all of my XCN. Now, some people may be thinking, okay, that's kind of crazy. Why would you do that? Well, what I mean is, of course, there's going to be a time to exit, but I'm never going to exit 100%. And the reason for that is because I believe that XCN has a bright long-term future. And even though nothing I say is financial advice, this is my reasoning. Take a look at the market that Onyx is focused on. After all, Onyxcoin, ticker symbol XCN, is the native token of the Onyx protocol. It's primarily focused on the same things that Ripple, aka XRP, and Stellar, aka XLM, again, they're focused on the same areas pretty much. Now, why do I think that this is going to be a good long-term narrative? It's because the global trade and finance space, it's going to have a bright future. It's predicted to be worth up to $5 trillion in value by 2028. So it's a market that's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. I think it's going to be like something that ages like fine wine. It's going to get better over time. And historically speaking, we do know that projects that are very solid, even despite, let's say, having a major bull run and then having a major pullback eventually, they still continue on moving forward and they never usually reach the points in which they were before. Just think about this. Take a look at, for instance, something like Cardano's native token called ADA. At one point, the price was hovering around 30 cents. Then it went to the price of $1, $2, $3, then went up a little bit more in some exchanges, and then the price, of course, tanked, but did it ever go down to the price of 3 cents ever again? No, it didn't do that. When it comes to XCN, I think that even though, let's say, hypothetically, it goes to the price of 25 cents, which is my price target, by the way, for XCN during this bull run, let's say it goes to that or maybe even more, who knows? It's eventually going to have a major pullback because we all know that typically after an amazing bull run, there's going to be a pretty nasty bear market. And I totally understand that. However, even after this bull run is over, I think that we could very well never see XCN below the price of 5 cents ever again. That's just my opinion. Now, that's the way I view it. However, no one has to listen to me, right? This is just the way I take a look at it. But take a look at Bitcoin, for instance. At one point, Bitcoin was at the price of $1. Even if, let's say, this bull run is over, is it ever going to even go to the price of $10,000 ever again? No, that's never going to happen. So when I take a look at XCN, the way I view it is that even though it has pumped up by a lot, I don't think it's ever going to reach these levels ever again, or maybe even just way lower. I don't think it's ever going to do that. I didn't acquire XCN just recently, of course. I acquired it before it had this major pump, but still, even despite that, I still do believe that we could very well never see the levels that we are seeing as of right now. So that's why I'm never going to be selling completely. Of course, if I'm never going to be selling at all, that'd be insane because, of course, there needs to be a time to exit. But the way I view it is that this is going to be something that's going to be around for multiple cycles to come. I think it's going to be around for many decades, actually, because when you take a look at Ripple and Stellar, as long as they're going to be around, which I do believe they're going to be around for decades, I do believe that something like Onyx is also going to be around for the long haul as well. Also, something like XDC. This market is just getting started. For the longest time possible, everyone was just FOMOing into XRP, XLM. But as of right now, people are beginning to discover XDC, XCN in a massive way. And this is going to be a major narrative during this bull run, in my opinion. And take a look at these exchanges that list something like XCN. For instance, Coinbase, Gate.io. You take a look at, for instance, also Kraken, KuCoin. You know, when you take a look at exchanges like this, they do not randomly list random projects in most cases. Now, of course, you take a look at some exchanges that list the Terra Luna, that is what it is. But in most cases, they usually vet the project properly. So when I take a look at something like XCN, I don't think it's going to disappear anytime soon. When something is very amazing fundamentally with a good and passionate community, which XCN is, or should I say it has, and yet again listed in these major exchanges, it's really not going to disappear after the bull run is over. Let's face it. I think it's pretty much going to be around for the long haul. So I'm still going to believe in this. Now, some people may think that, okay, more specifically during this bull run though, what level do you see it going to? Again, I hypothetically see it going to the price of 25 cents, which people may think is insane, but really it's not that crazy. You know, going to that price at that point, considering current circulating supply, market cap would be around $8 billion. Keep in mind, if we take a look at, you know, several other projects out there, even as of right now, they're way bigger than this, and I don't think they're anywhere this good. Like, people often think that, okay, this is insane because even though it's barely even 10% of Dogecoin's all-time high market cap, it's too ridiculous for something like XCN to achieve because the adoption is bad. Well, I'm going to disagree with that because take a look at Solana. Does Solana have good adoption? I don't think so. The ecosystem is primarily filled with meme coins, Solana is famous, but it doesn't mean that the adoption is amazing. It has good perceived adoption, but in the world of cryptocurrencies, people don't usually care about adoption in its current form. They usually care about what something could be in the future. And when it comes to Onyx, since a lot of people view this as the next XLM or the next quote unquote XRP, the way people take a look at it is that it's going to be something amazing, hypothetically, in the future. And I do too. So the way I view it is that this has good anticipated adoption. It does fit the narrative of what people are looking for in this day and age. And I think that it could have such a bright future ahead. So I don't think this is too much to ask for. Keep in mind, 25 cents is now, by the way, around an 18x from here. It didn't look like that before, but now it's around an 18x from here. So the way I view it is that when it comes to XCN, despite it already being pretty massive, relatively speaking, let's say hypothetically doing another 18x from here, it doesn't seem so bad in my opinion. Anything over a 10x really, I think, is a major bonus. However, some people may think that an 18x is so bad, but I disagree with that, especially again, when it comes to something that has already grown by this much. Now, not to mention, when you take a look at something like XCN, people like to say that, okay, yeah, the use case isn't that dynamic, all this type of stuff. Well, here's the thing. Most people who get into AI projects, NFT projects, blockchain gaming projects, a lot of them never really get into what the project is even doing in the first place. They just want to know what it's focused on, if that makes sense. Like most people that I know that believe in AI projects, like for instance, like a BitTensor or like an ASI Alliance, or let's say, for instance, like an AOS, they never really utilize anything when it comes to it, really. They just want to know that it can do something, but they don't really care. So when people like to say, oh, the difference between Ripple and Onyx is this, oh, Stellar, they don't really care about these small details, the average individual, in my opinion. Some people are going to care, but most often than not, people don't really care. So in my opinion, when it comes to adoption, people saying it's bad, when they say, oh, it's not that much different when it comes to Ripple or Stellar, it doesn't really matter in my opinion. And so far, again, it doesn't really matter because it has done pretty well and people don't usually care about this type of stuff. Think about this, right? Most people who believe in metaverse projects, they never even play with the metaverse. So the way I view it is that this isn't a major criteria as of right now. Maybe it could be in the next 5, 10, 15 years, but as of right now, it's not. And you take a look at how there's over 600 million crypto owners as of right now, according to Crypto.com research. I highly doubt that this board is going to be bad. When you have that many people, over 500 million, the amount of FOMO, buying pressure, and buying volume could be insane. But it's just a waiting game. I think in the next 6 months, 10 months, things could be very different. And of course, I'm not saying that XCN is going to have the straight shot up, but I think it's going to have multiple pullbacks along the way. It's only normal. Some people are going to take profits. Some people are going to leave. Take a look at Bitcoin. Some people took profits when Bitcoin reached $1, when it reached $5, 1,000, 20,000, whatever the case, right? Even at 100,000, there's going to be people who leave along the way, and it's totally fine. We're going to see some price pullbacks, in my opinion. When things pump up by that much in such a relatively short amount of time, there's going to be somewhat of a pullback. But I don't really mind because, if anything, I'll still accumulate more. And my strategy is well suited for a long term, or should I say for a long-term investing, because anytime an income I'm acquiring, I'm holding, and I'm just waiting, that's it. That way, if the price pumps, that's great. But if the price dips, since I never went all in, I'll still be able to accumulate more. The way you take a look at it is that dips, they're part of the journey. It's like part of being a marathon runner. You're going to get tired. That's the way you take a look at it. I mean, it's part of the gig. That's the way I view it, right? It's like people who are musicians. Part of the gig is singing on stage. It is what it is. So the way I view it is that when it comes to something like XCN, pullbacks are normal, but 25 cents, that's all my price target for this one. I think it'd be very special as Bitcoin reaches that next level of 150,000, 200,000, maybe 250,000, maybe even more. Who knows? I think XCN is just going to go along with the ride. And again, 25 cents is my price target for this one, but I still do believe that it's going to stick around for the long haul, and I'm never going to be selling completely, even though, of course, I will exit at a certain point. However, I'm never going to be exiting 100% because I think this has such a bright long-term future, much like XRP, XLM, and XDC. And make sure to subscribe if you gain value from this video. I greatly appreciate it. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll catch you all on the next one. Peace. Bye.